If my wife commits fornication and I decide to forgive my wife, is that I sinned against God. Some of the things I'm saying here are not popular opinions. I have no problem with divorce. If two people genuinely see that they can no longer stay together, the best thing to do is to separate them. For the sake of the children,
If you can stay in the marriage and not die in the marriage, you can just coexist.
no judge will force a willing husband on an unwilling woman. God never said that if you see danger, you should stand. There are some cultures that if you hear them, you become very uncomfortable. We're talking about conditions of divorce. Do you think whoever wrote that thing thought it through? They won't. Whatever thing you were being taught, learn to also ask questions. Get clear clarifications.
So we are expecting your questions.
Whatever thing you are believing in, please.
Use your common sense. Do you believe people should divorce? Because some say divorce is against the scriptures, and some say it's not okay to divorce. Since you guys are married, you guys should stay in the marriage.
Well, my thoughts may not be that popular, but I tell you what, if you meet me today, I'll answer your question first. Let me lay this foundation. If you meet me today and tell me the grounds you want to divorce from your marriage, and I look at it, your life is being threatened in that marriage, you are no longer safe where you claim to be or where you are, I'll support that divorce. Me, I will not remain in a marriage or in a relationship where either my spouse believes I'm now a threat to her or I see myself as being threatened. I will try to end that marriage. I have no problem with divorce. It is better the two people, the two parties, stay alive and see each other live their life than forcing them to stay together. One day, you hear that one has killed the other.
Why is it always
The same people, but that is the truth. In Nigeria here, you go to some places, you hear people having issues. The religious ones among them, because some are more religious than we are. No, don't divorce now. The holy books are against divorce. You
Which
people should
holy
live together. The same people forcing you to live, the same person will attend your burial when you finally die.
Yes, sure.
They will eat, they will drink,
Yeah.
they will
I
even
think that's
dance. That is where we bury people in Nigeria. Though not all part of Nigeria anyway. Especially, let me use the Christian side of Nigeria. On the day of burial, you will eat, you will drink, you will dance, you will play music. These are people who force these two people to remain together until one killed the other. I have no problem whatsoever about divorce, against divorce. If two people stay and see it for, genuinely see it that they can no longer stay together, the best thing to do is to separate them. I say here, you hear people say all sort of things. Hey, how do you want to live your marriage? Why don't you consider your children? What children? If you die, those children will still live their life.
Yeah, but it still affects the children. If you can stay in the marriage and not die in the marriage, and you can be there for the children, I said strongly.
Do you
advise
think
can
it
work
was
out.
easy to stay in that marriage and that person is complaining? Was it easy to stay?
Because you know why I said this? Children who their parents are divorced, they're also going through their own issues. So,
Yes.
for the sake of the children, if you can just cohabit, coexist, not live as married people, just coexist in the same home.
It's not easy. It is not. What you are advocating for is, as Africans, the man has the home, right? You want the man now to live with a woman he's no longer seen as a wife. You want the woman to live in a house with a man he no longer sees as the husband. This is the same man who, knowing he no longer has a wife, has the right now to look for another wife. Are you telling him now to go bring a new wife while the other one is still living there? Is that what you're advocating?
No.
That's exactly what you said.
Cannot.
But that's
For
what
the
he
sake
said.
of the children, they should coexist and keep all their
For the sake of the children, they should discuss how to take care of the children and put back their ways. Yes, it's better like that. When both parties are no longer together, no longer causing a threat or forming a threat against each other, there should be sort of agreement that the school fees the man should pay with their rent, wherever they stay. The woman, now since you can stay alone, fund the feeding. Or whichever way, if the man can take care of everything, but let them separate. Whatever thing that is making them not to be able to resolve their own problems, you don't force them to stay together. I'll give you another instance. Do you know the reason why if you take any divorce case to court, it is difficult for the judge to reject, to deny it? Just sit down, get your reasons. No judge will force a willing husband on a willing woman. No judge will do that. And no judge will force a willing wife on an unwilling man. No judge can do that. They know the implications. If you force them together, tomorrow you hear one is dead. For that, once two people keeps living and one day wakes up, one heads to court. That I no longer like his face. No judge will tell you to live together with him. You understand it now? You don't force two people who already showed signs of that they can no longer live together. You don't force them to live together. So again, on the issue of divorce, I have no problem or say against divorce. If two people start living and at some point they start having what they call some people call it irreconcilable differences. Once they start it, my sister, find a way, pack this thing, let everybody go there. Those irreconcilable differences, they can even reconcile after that.
Yeah, absolutely.
When they start living separately, they start saying that, see, these things I refuse to agree that time. Why don't I call this guy, let's resolve these things and live together again? They can patch it up by themselves and come back.
But they have to move by the time they wanted to move.
But that time, you start seeing danger. Don't force them to
God won't hold it against them.
God never said there is nowhere. I do not know which God told anybody that if you see danger, you should stand. No. It's not written anywhere. I do not know of any religious book that says when you see danger coming, don't run, stay. It doesn't exist. God cannot tell you if you are facing danger, you should remain there. No God will say that. Most of what you hear are what we are being made to believe. When somebody will tell you that the Bible said it's only on the grounds of fornication that you should divorce. And I will ask them, if my wife commits fornication and I decide to forgive my wife, is it that I sinned against God? No, your Bible told you that if my wife, what if I choose to forgive her? What happens? Or if me commit and my wife decides to forgive me, will God keep both of us?
And the way they even put it, they'll be like, this adultery should be only if the woman commits it, then they should be there. If the man commits it, they should not be even divorced.
That's where the problem comes.
Like
there are some of these things. See, let me tell you, I don't want to bring this into this conversation because it will look as if I am here to mislead people. I don't want to sound much controversial than because whatever things I'm saying here.
This is not your usual opinion.
Some of the things I'm saying here are not popular opinions, are not what people believe. People believe what they choose to believe.
Yeah, they are entitled to that.
How is it that you make a law? If a woman steals this, she should die. If a man steals the same thing, nobody talks about that. And when you want to do, he said there's no place in the law now that says a man should be punished for doing this. That the law only mentioned woman. In many cultures today, there are some cultures that if you hear them, you become very uncomfortable. Even when you are not from that side. You hear cultures of when a married woman commits adultery, that it is the woman now and the children that will die, especially if she gets money from that person. Yeah. Go to some culture, some other cultures. Some will tell you if she commits adultery and gets money from the man, that if she use that money to cook in the house, that the husband will die. First male child and first daughter or what or something, where the husband will die. Now, I've been wondering, how is it supposed to concern these people who knows hand in this
atrocity?
Who made this type of law?
Oh my God.
But these are the things we face in some of the cultural practices we live in. I used to tell people, like I didn't want to go into it, but I want to hint it a little. Some of the things we practice today as a religion, I practice Christianity from the part of the world where I come from. Some of the things we practice today are cultures, man-made cultures that we roped into what they now call religion and we are mixing them up to practice. Let me leave that one at that.
Please, can you give examples?
There are so many examples now. Examples of where somebody who claims to be a Christian will carry a Bible to teach something. He will tell you, read something, saying a different thing, and explain a different thing to you, and force you to believe it. There are many. Me and you now today, we're talking about just about divorce now, where you were told conditions of divorce. Do you think whoever wrote that thing thought it through to even write it?
Yeah, I don't think so.
That's just one. There are so many of them. There are so many of such things. There are so many of such statements you read, and you'll be wondering, so who wrote this? But that's the life we live in. There are a lot of mixed up everywhere. Whatever thing you choose to believe, whatever thing you are being taught, whatever thing you are believing in, please
Use your common sense.
use your common sense. I'm not saying you shouldn't believe what you are being told or if you choose to. Learn to also ask questions. Get clear clarifications.
So we are expecting your questions.
Get clarifications in most of these things. If you don't, it will be difficult to, because you will start practicing what you can't even tell yourself why you're doing it. There are many religious practices today that people do that has no foundation. They don't even know why they are doing it. They are being told to do it and they are doing it. And if you ask them to explain, they'll start seeing you as somebody who is even against their God. What type of life is that? That you live a life where you can't question what you are doing. If you try to question what somebody is doing, it becomes an offense. If you try to question what you are being told to do, they see you as an enemy. If and I start wondering, so why were you now created with sense?
It would have been made to be robotics, right?
You should have become one zombie somewhere now so that you just be programmed and somebody come and type in some code into you, you start behaving the way it wants. When it goes, another person comes, type in something,
Sensitive code.
they say to you again, you start behaving the way the person wants.
Oh my word. Oh,
And you got to think of it, how would you even allow somebody be the one controlling a human being like you? You can't control the person, but the person can control you. And you tell me you still have yourself, you not lost your mind.